The demise of production in America is killing our dream. Whew.
It is.
In 2008, Carrie and I lost our job.
So we had a really fancy presentation to share with you all today, and last night, honestly, we threw it away. Because what we realized is that all we really want to convey to you is why manufacturing in America is such an important part in our lives. So here's the real story. Matt and I were friends since we were 10 years old. We fell in love 20 years later, and then we got married. And I do have to say that we didn't pack together, and we for sure are married because we have on the same outfit. And I didn't even know it till this morning. So Matt and I grew up in Henderson, Kentucky, where we both worked for my family's business. And in that business, we developed and designed blue jeans for major brands, almost everyone that you've probably ever heard of. And on top of that, we produced their blue jeans. So in the late 80s, we produced 250,000 units, 250,000 jeans a week. And slowly but surely, as you know the story, everything went offshore. And by 2008, the year that my dad and my brother respectfully bowed their heads and closed the company, we were making 500 units a week. So what were we going to do?
So, of course, we came up with all these crazy ideas, like opening a restaurant, and we knew nothing about food. Starting, really, I could go on and on and on. But at the end of the day, we looked at each other, and the only thing that we really knew how to do was make blue jeans. So we started a blog because we were broke and it was free. And we started sharing our ideas through that blog. And on that blog, we announced that we were going to make 250 limited edition made-to-order blue jeans. And we sold those 250 blue jeans in 3 weeks. We sold them to friends and family and people that wanted to support our dream. And we went on to sell another 250 pair of jeans the next month.
So that validated the concept, and at that point, my dad and brother, who honestly at that time still had not figured out what they were going to do with their lives, sat with us and helped us write a business plan. So we wrote our business plan and decided that instead of seeking out one investor, we would invite 17 of our friends to capitalize the company.
So we got capitalization for our company, and we think we're visiting friends in Nashville, Tennessee, and we saw this gas station while we were driving around looking at neighborhoods. And any of you who know my wife, she knows exactly what she wants, exactly when she sees it. So she said, that is where we are going to put our new business.
So the landlord of the building was 90 years old and only wanted to sell it, but we couldn't afford it at the time, and still, honestly, we can't today. So it took us 9 months, but she finally granted us the lease, and we moved our life to Nashville from Kentucky and renovated the gas station, and on July 19th, 2009, we opened the doors of Imogene+Willie.
So at that point in time, we lived in the attic. We worked the retail every day. We designed and developed all of our product and made it in-house, all the while trying to have some sense of a normal life, but that really wasn't the case. So what happened next?
Then we kept on writing on the blog.
Yeah, so we continued to tell people of our struggles and all these things that we were going through, and people started showing up. They started showing up from Los Angeles, and New York, and New Orleans, and Tokyo, and London.
Atlanta.
And Atlanta.
Yeah.
And what happened after that is the greatest problem were faced with, but we could no longer produce the goods that we were making in our small shop.
So just like the family business that had closed, almost all manufacturers in the Southeast had closed their doors as well. But we knew that there was one man on the Tennessee-Kentucky border that was still making jeans.
So I called this man, his name's Donnie, and I said to Donnie, would you be willing to take some of our work in making our blue jeans? And he said, well, how many jeans do you plan on making a week? A week? I'm thinking more like, how many are we gonna make a month? I still to this day don't know why he decided to take our work, but he did.
So Donnie took our work, and we still make jeans at Donnie's factory. Now we do make jeans there every week. And we also now have partnered with a second facility in our region to make even more pants. But honestly, and thankfully, manufacturing of blue jeans in this country is not the real problem.
So kind of after we got the manufacturing of the blue jeans sort of sorted out, we focused on building our brand and making shirts and jackets and dresses. And again, here's another problem. We started selling out of them so fast that we couldn't keep them in stock, so we started looking for another manufacturer. Now, at this point, really realized that all manufacturing of wovens and tops has gone to China. It's just a real fact. There are a couple of small places, but for the most part, it's just not readily available.
So we just figured out how to make it work. We did outgrow the capacity at the gas station making the shirts and the dresses and the jackets, and then found a wonderful man in Los Angeles that helped us make more shirts and more jackets and more skirts and et cetera. But he, even though his quality was very good, his prices were very high because honestly it was just a sample shop. So about 6 months ago, we were getting by that way, but then 6 months ago, we were presented with a new opportunity. Anthropologie, a division of Urban Outfitters, which is one of the largest American retailers in our country, wanted to sell our product. And we, in the past, had always said no to things like this because we've been very mindful and careful about growing very slowly. So for some reason, it seemed right, though. The synergy was good, and they were offering us a very unique platform where they would allow us to tell our story to their audience. So, one more so, to put it into perspective, the initial order that they wrote with us was equivalent to our previous year's annual sales. But we were really excited, and we knew it would be fine because we thought surely they just wanted our jeans.
But they didn't. They wanted to represent Imogene+Willie's full collection, and we were very excited about that. And really, we thought, surely such a big company would be able to, maybe share a secret and tell us where these secret factories are that can make our shirts.
Yeah, and they actually said that they could do that. We had 90 days to pull off this production and to ship the goods and to make it into their stores on time. So they said, let's help you figure this out. And they couldn't figure it out. And we probably should have researched this before we got up here, but I think their revenues are in the billions. So if they can't figure it out, then how do we? But we still took the order.
So, yeah. So we went to LA, and on the recommendation of friends and colleagues, we found a couple of factories. And what we actually learned is that these factories became very specialized. So if you were making t-shirts, that's all you did. If you were making sweatshirts, that's all you did. There was not really a place where sort of all of these things that we were dreaming up could be made. So we found this one facility, and of course, it was brand new, so we felt very fortunate to maybe be some of the first people in this factory and develop a working relationship with this company. And it was state-of-the-art and so big, square footage was unbelievable, and they were producing, they accepted our work, so this was really great. So about 4 weeks before we were to ship the biggest order of our company's history, We sent our production manager to Los Angeles to oversee the production. Obviously, we care greatly about quality, and just because it's made in America doesn't mean you immediately get great quality. So we went to oversee the production, and all of a sudden, this plant owner was really hard to get a hold of. And we had shipped him our fabric, our sundries, our buttons, our labels, everything.
So he wouldn't see our production manager, but he did find time to call me almost every night and say, don't worry, everything's beautiful. It's all coming out just right, and we're going to make this delivery on time.
So that was reassuring. And a week before, our production manager knocked on the door of the factory to try to see the production and had found out that the factory owner had moved all of our production and outsourced it. So, go ahead.
Go.
We tried to track it down. Ian tried to track it down, our production manager, only to find out that the factories that he moved it to were already doing the work that we had, half of the work that we already had in Los Angeles. So we knew their production schedule, and there was just simply no time to do it.
So we didn't make it. So, Anthropology proved to be a very good partner, and they worked through this issue with us, and half of our goods are in their stores today, but obviously, and rightfully so, they had to decrease the order by half. So a situation like that could potentially bankrupt a company. We are very fortunate because we built a business model where we also have a retail store. So those goods now that we own are being sold in our store, and it's all going to be okay. But let me say again, another brand like us that does not have a retail store might not have made it.
The demise of production in America is killing our dream.
So the ideas.
So, the dream is, for a second, let's not blame American apparel companies for taking their work overseas. The reality is they have to. I mean, there's just no place here for them to do it. And let's not blame our government or our country for NAFTA, where, NAFTA was created so that these low-wage jobs where you use your hands, those were supposed to go overseas. And all these great technology jobs that were coming in, that were going to pay these high wages, those were going to stay here. We kind of all know what's happened in that realm,
So here's our challenge. Even though we respect why American brands had to take their production overseas, we challenge you to bring it back home. Your margins will be decreased, no doubt, in the transition, but it's okay. We've made a commitment to each other and to our employees and to our customers to make things in America. So we make that challenge, and it sounds so exciting, but there's no place for those American companies to produce their goods. So why wouldn't someone do something about it that could do something about it? Take Ralph Lauren for an example. Why wouldn't he go to Rockingham, North Carolina, which is a little town that we used to spend time in because they made fabric and also many other goods. So why wouldn't he go to that town and buy those desolate factories and teach the people that all of them still don't have jobs, retrain them how to use their hands again?
We actually have a friend that's doing this now. And a little background on him, his name's Tom, and Tom started Fossil Watches. After 30 years, that company went public, and instead of going off and buying an island to retire on, Tom bought a desolate factory in Detroit, Michigan. There in Detroit, he is making watches under a new name, and he's also making bicycles and he's also making leather goods to accompany the bicycles and bags and all of these great things and all these great products, all made with a stamp that says, made in the US.
So if Ralph doesn't take our challenge, then we still need to do something about it ourselves on a much smaller scale. Take our sweet little city of Nashville. Matt and I are for sure not the only creatives in that town. Emil Irwin is making leather goods, and he just shipped his first order to Barney's, but he barely got it finished because he didn't have enough hands to make the product. Otis James, because of Garden and Gun, one of your favorite magazines too, I'm sure, got so much exposure from Garden and Gun that now he's shipping his handmade bow ties all around the world, and he can't really make many more because he doesn't have enough hands to make his product. A guy named Luke, who came from Australia, he's taking scrap metal and making beautiful signs. The last one that he made last week, he shipped to Nike for LeBron James' office. It's 6 foot and it says LeBron. And then there's a guy named Scott who makes chocolate. So why can't we all pile in a warehouse on our riverfront that's abandoned and start making things together? That's the only thing we can figure out right now. The old model that I grew up in, as far as manufacturing, one operator would sew one pocket on one pair of jeans day in and day out. So instead, why can't that one operator be trained on a team to make jeans one week, and then the bow ties the next, and then go work in the welding shop the next, and then stir the pot of chocolate, and then we're all back in business again?
We know that sounds like some crazy, euphoric utopia in society, but the reality is that, it's starting to happen. There's very small places in every city that people are making things again. And so if we can pull it off, which we think we can, then Matt and I literally will have come full circle. We grew up in a thriving manufacturing business, and then we slowly but surely watched it all go offshore, and then we very painfully watched my parents turn off the last lights, and then we started all over again, and we're trying it again. So, again, we feel like that this really is an idea worth spreading. Thank you.
Thanks. Good job!